everybody. Karyn Bryant here today, kicking back with me. I've got Mario Bautista. He is in the main event against Vinicius Oliveira on February 7th. Good to see you again, Mario.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so listen, I double checked, and the last time you and I talked was actually 2 years ago, almost just like 2 years and 2 weeks apart. It was in January of 2024, and you had just beaten Ricky Simone. You are on a 6 win streak. So, my first question for you is what do you think you got better at since then? Because you've put together a few more wins since then.
Uh, I think just going through my camps and everything, coming off that fight, I've gained a lot of confidence, because that was a guy that had such an incredible gas tank, known for being a grinder. And for me to do that to him, it just kind of solidified what I was doing in my camp. So,
Mhm.
you know, yeah, just growing every day and believing in my camps and what I was doing.
Mhm. So after that, you did beat Jose Aldo and Patchy Mix, and you ran into Umar Nurmagomedov. But I am curious, in those three fights, two of them went your way. What do you think was working for you best, and maybe what didn't work against Umar?
Uh, I guess like in those two ones that I won, it's just dealing with the hype and everything,
Hmm.
I felt like I was better than those two for sure. But just being in that atmosphere of Aldo, that legendary status, and then Patchy Mix coming in with so much hype behind him being a champion outside the UFC and just having these amazing finishes. And then with Umar is just, meeting that their whole team, just that's all they do, that they're some of the best in the world, if not the best in the world at what they do. Um, so I definitely got to feel what that feels like, and leading, going into these next few fights, I feel pretty confident I've made the right adjustments, and so I feel good. It's good, all great experiences.
Yeah, you actually just brought up a couple things I want to touch on. So I'm like, geez, where do I start? But let's talk about Jose Aldo then. So you were able to beat the legend, and there was some pushback on that decision, though. How did you feel when people were like, I don't know if he won?
Yeah, no, I don't know if they. I mean, I definitely won. I just don't think they like the way I won. So,
Okay.
but it was definitely interesting. I feel like I started a trend, where these MMA fans would just trash fighters online. I've seen it a lot more after my whole ordeal. Um, but I got to bounce back from it, coming off that patchy fight.
Yeah, it's terrible. The fan base is a whole thing, and it really is insane and tragic and sad actually how quickly they will turn. But with the Patchy Mix fight, how do you feel about the fact that he's already been released? I don't. I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he should have gotten another chance, especially if he did want to go to 45. I hear that's what he's doing.
Mhm.
So I would have gave him another chance at 45 to see if that's really the issue that's going on. But that's how this sport goes. You lose two in a row or you don't fulfill like these things. It's a cutthroat business for sure.
It is. I want to circle back to the Jose Aldo thing because when you and I spoke a couple of years ago, you talked about when you were first getting into MMA and the respect you had for guys like Uriah Faber, right? Like really bringing a lot of notoriety to the smaller weight classes. So then what was it like when you're literally there across the octagon from the legend, Jose Aldo?
Uh, Honestly, it was crazy watching him walk out. That's like oh man, here we go. Like he's walking out, and I see all the fans going crazy for him, his whole like crew coming out. But once we got into the cage, it's just like anything else, that's the way it's always going to be for me. But definitely him walking out, I was like, "Oop, here we go. Here comes out the legend." This is what everyone gets to see on TV, and I get to see it
Yeah.
firsthand coming up to me in the cage. So it was a pretty cool experience. Yeah, a ton of
Yeah.
respect for the guy.
Of course, that's it, and that's all. I mean, not that you were starstruck or anything, but just that it's almost like one of those things in your brain where you're kind of like, okay, this guy was somebody I looked up to, and now I'm here with him, so I guess I'm doing okay.
Exactly. And even for that Ricky fight, I was watching a lot of Jose Aldo
Hmm.
fights, because he has such great takedown defense.
Yeah.
And so, going into that Ricky fight, I just watched a lot of video. And then next thing you know, I'm fighting Aldo. So crazy.
Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. So one thing I want to ask you about too with this fight, you were scheduled for a main event before, is that correct? But I believe this is actually the first time you're getting the main event.
Yes. Yeah. I was supposed to have the main event in Vancouver against Umar.
Mhm.
Um, And I don't know, maybe they just didn't like it. They didn't want the 5 rounds, and let's move it to Abu Dhabi, a little bit closer to us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. I wasn't going to say no or anything or fight it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was scheduled for 5.
Okay, so it is the standard question, but is it different for you training for a main event? Is your headspace different? Is your preparation different? Is there anything different about this camp now that it's for a main event?
Yeah, a lot. I I won't say a lot is different, but I definitely had like I gave myself permission to change things up, especially coming off a loss. When you go on an
Mm-hmm.
8 fight win streak, you don't want to change too much, like even though you want to, like but no, I'm 8 fight win streak. I'm not going to change anything. So coming off the loss and also doing a completely different fight, a 5 rounder for the first time. Um, so as far as like training, I kind of there's a blueprint at the gym, and I think Benson Henderson did an amazing job. This guy has probably more 5 round fights than anyone at our gym. So I kind of base it off him, and so yeah, just doing a lot of work, a lot of rest, and that's pretty much it. I didn't change too much, but definitely putting in the work.
Nice. I understand what you're saying. It is one of those if it's not broken, don't fix it thing. But you do hear people talk about the time when they do finally lose. There's a sense of relief in that they can make those changes now that they maybe wanted to make before.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I've been feeling the benefits of it throughout this camp. This is like
Mhm.
this is the best I've felt in a very long time. So I'm excited for this fight.
Yeah, you're right with the OG like Benson. Man, I covered so many of Benson's fights back in the day, and yeah, I mean he was in some wars. So coming into this fight, you are ranked number 9. I believe it's number 9 versus a number 11 here. So what are your hopes after a victory? If you get your hand raised, what are you hoping for? Who would you like to call out? Because you've had some quality call outs in the past, and I'm curious what's on your mind.
Yeah, I'm totally focused on Vinicius right now,
Hmm.
but if everything goes good and I have a great performance, whether I get the finish or I make these 5 rounds look, great, and you know, I'd like to get back into the top 5. There's that Corey Sandhagen rematch. I think that'd make a
Yeah.
great story. I lost that debut, and I could meet him again in the top 5 at the very top. So that's another one. But there's a lot of moving parts going on right now in the top 5. So we'll see how things line up after this fight and in the next few months.
So remind me, did you fight Corey Sandhagen on short notice for your debut?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
1 week notice, and yeah, in New York. So I'm still chasing that one down.
That's a pretty solid matchup. And like you just said, it actually could potentially make sense again.
Yeah, and we have a good performance, and
Mhm.
and we could probably set that up for sure.
Nice. I like it. And, a couple of things I want to ask you, just like I said, revisiting things that you talked about before. So your mom, you have said before, has always been supporting you and has been at your fights. What happened when you told mom that you got the main event and where is she going to be sitting? How vocal is she going to be?
Oh, she's always so happy, happy and nervous at the same time. Always
Yeah.
bragging about her boy,
Yeah.
uh, in our small town. But she's gonna be there at the Apex. I don't think she's ever missed a fight except Abu Dhabi one, such a
Yeah.
long flight and everything. But all my fights, she's always been there. So she'll be there in the crowd with my dad, uncle, and then the usual crew.
Awesome. I love that. And lastly, you told me before that when you're in Vegas, if you were going to gamble, that you played roulette. Do you still play roulette? Is that still your game?
That's so funny. I was just talking about that. I think yesterday. Uh, I haven't gone to the casino in a little bit, but this is going to be a perfect excuse once to go to Vegas and get a win, get a little bit of cash, and go try my luck on roulette.
Nice. But be careful, play smart. Like I don't, and I feel, I remember you had like a whole system of what you do, right? With the,
Yeah, no, I put in my money. If I get back down to what I put in, it's time to go. But I have some good people around me, and my corners are always watching me. Even when I gamble, they're in my corner, and they tell me like, "Hey, it's it's time to go. Let's go while you're up." So it'll
yeah.
be good.
Good. Yeah. You're taking too many hits, Mario. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Like,
we gotta go, man.
we got to go, man. We got to go. I love it. All right. So listen, if people weren't sure why they should tune in on February 7th to see you in the main event, what would you do? What kind of promo would you cut for, Mario?
I mean, it's gonna be an exciting fight. If you've
Yeah.
seen the way this guy fights, He comes forward, he swings from the hips. It's going to be two styles coming forward together. Um, and it's a 5 round fight, and I believe I'm made for 5 round fights, and it's going to be exciting. And you know, tune in if you want to watch a good one.
Nice. Well, we absolutely do. Best of luck to you. And you've already done so many great things in the UFC, and I really just see a great future for you as you continue on your way here. So currently number 9. We'll see what happens after the fight. But thank you so much for joining me, Mario, and best of luck.
Awesome, Karen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.